truth behind Post Malone's strange behavior. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Austin Post, also known as Post Malone. He's an incredibly popular musician who has managed to gain fans across the globe for his ability to blend nearly every genre of music into one. Many of his songs are hip-hop at their core, but he often introduces elements of rock, punk, and even country to many of his productions. He first rose to fame back in 2015 after the release of his hit song White Iverson. The track was uploaded to SoundCloud, with Post expecting only a few responses and downloads. Post has released 2 more albums and several singles since then, and has gone on to be one of America's most popular artists of all time. He has now sold over 65 million albums while maintaining a clean-cut lifestyle, and is also known across the world as being one of America's most lovable musicians and an all-around great guy. However, he has recently caused many fans to become concerned over his well-being, after which he performed several live shows in which he appears to be in a poor mental state. However, several major artists managed to share the song, making it go viral within just 48 hours of its release. From here, Post signed a record deal and released his first album, Stoney, in 2016. The album broke a Billboard chart record when it managed to remain on the charts for 77 weeks longer than any other hip-hop album to ever be released. On March 5, 2020, Post freaked out hundreds of fans during a late-night performance while performing the song Fall Apart. Post falls while on stage but continues with the performance. He lingers on the ground for a moment before falling to the ground and rolling on the floor while singing. This video made the rounds on social media and has gone viral since its release. These behaviors are wildly out of character for Post, who normally puts on a great show and appears to be in good spirits. Almost every night, fans have chimed in to state that they believe that he may be under the influence of certain substances or may have gotten heavily involved in alcohol. It has been suggested that his recent sponsorship with Bud Light may be negatively affecting him, either because he has begun drinking too much or allowed an alcohol addiction to turn into something much darker. Some viewers claim that Post simply seems to be vibing with the song and allows his emotions to simply pour out. However, others disagree and claim that Post appears to be going through a difficult time in life. Viewers have even gone as far as to reference his recent Super Bowl commercial for Bud Light, saying that he appears to have lost a lot of weight and didn't seem to be in a good mental place while filming the commercial. A Twitter user posted saying, "Whether you're a fan or not, I truly believe Post Malone needs some serious help. People say it's just because he's drunk, but that's way more than alcohol." Many of Post fans are heavily involved in the emo rap scene. Considering that the genre has seen many of its major artists pass away within the last few years, it's understandable why they would be so concerned about Lil Peep as an artist that many fans look up to. As an example of what can happen when drugs or alcohol begin to consume your life, Peep positioned himself as one of the world's most promising up-and-coming rap musicians back in 2016 and 2017. However, he tragically lost his life in November 2017 after a battle with drug addiction that resulted in him overdosing on what many believe to have been a fentanyl-laced Xanax. Even worse is that Peep's downfall was captured on video and shared with social media accounts just hours before his demise, and fans certainly don't want the same story to ring true for Post. Mac Miller is another artist from the genre who was involved in illegal substances that ultimately took his life. He was just 26 years old when he passed away. After referencing his battle with drug addiction in many of his songs, he had become an inspiration for many younger individuals who also struggled with addiction. But his life unexpectedly came to an end. In September of 2018, he passed away from an accidental overdose while in his home. Numerous prescription medications were found in Miller's system on the night that he passed. So, no one is certain what medication resulted in the loss of his life. However, yet another artist from the same genre lost his life just a few months ago in December 2019. Jared Higgins, better known as Juice WRLD, was an emo rap performer from Chicago. He had collaborated with many similar artists throughout his life, but his career came to a halt. On December 8, 2019, he boarded a private jet that was heading to Chicago when the pilot became aware that Higgins had stored several pounds of illegal substances on the plane, as well as a few weapons. Police were waiting to arrest him when the plane touched down, but Higgins realized what was about to transpire and swallowed countless medications in an attempt to hide them from police. He then began to have a seizure that ultimately cost him his life. These are just a few cases that have caused fans to be severely concerned about Post's behavior in the past few weeks. Though neither Post or his management team have offered to comment on the issue, fans have been pleading with Post through his Twitter account to calm down and potentially take a step back to give himself time to recover. but he has not yet admitted that he is in any sort of danger or under the influence of any potentially harmful substances. A few years ago, Post made headlines nationwide after he grabbed a fan's guitar from the audience and began smashing it on stage. This isn't the only incident like this. He has been known to smash equipment, tables, chairs, and other items during his performances. However, many are questioning whether these events are him simply goofing off on stage, or if this is his way to release his aggression, anger, and depression that have been plaguing him for far too long. These beliefs are based on the fact that Post used to be involved in drugs earlier in his career. He's mentioned in interviews that he became involved with several different prescriptions, taking them all without a doctor's approval. He has come clean in an interview since then in Stadia that this portion of his life is now behind him and that he has no intentions of looking back. He frequently mentions Peep when talking about his struggles with addiction, stating that Lil Peep's memory is what helps him stay clean. He and Peep were never really very close, but they met several times throughout Peep's short career. They shared a lot in common and took several photos and videos together before Peep lost his life. Post looked up to Peep and thought of him as a brother, even though the two didn't have a very long relationship. After Peep's death, Post got a tattoo on his face to commemorate the impact he had made on Post and the music industry as a whole. This seems to suggest that Post likely has a strong stance against drugs, but it is not uncommon for previous addicts to fall back into their old habits and relapse. Post said that when he first started touring, he was taking illegal pills quite often, and his hit song Rockstar Post directly states, "He has been popping pills, making him just feel like a rock star." This song became incredibly popular for him, though it certainly painted him in a negative light with a portion of his audience. These days, it seems that many viewers and listeners glorify the use of drugs, and Post was playing into that at the very time. However, Post has since taken a very different approach to drug use, criticizing artists who use drugs for fun or partying. For many artists these days, touring is fun and games, and that's great. Most modern artists work their fingers to the bone to craft their careers, and they deserve to have some free time to let loose and have fun. However, drugs are not the way to go. We have lost far too many great musicians and celebrities to drug use recently, and we don't want to see Post listed as another tragic headline story of a life that was ended far too soon after another use became mainstream. In the early 2000s, drug use began to rise as they could now be purchased without even leaving the comfort of your home. Many of these drugs came from legitimate sources and led to the deaths of thousands of people. As an example, Lil Peep was one of those victims. He has been struggling with depression for many years and was leaning on Xanax as a crutch for him to get rid of his depression and anxiety. However, he was given Xanax at a show in late 2017 with pills coming from a shady source that had laced them with fentanyl to increase their effectiveness. Peep was unaware of this and took far too many, leading to his demise. Post Malone has commented on that night and commented on Peep's life, stating that it doesn't matter where people got the pills from. What matters is that Peep was depressed and suffering, and none of his closest friends were willing to do anything about it. Peep had spoken with his mother on several occasions, stating that he didn't want to tour anymore. But Post and other artists have suggested that he was unable to escape the lifestyle due to prior commitments he had made. Post has consistently mentioned that anyone who was involved with drugs or has serious depression or thoughts of using drugs should speak with a professional or friend as soon as possible. Post's stance on illicit use has been very clear throughout his career. This makes it quite difficult to believe that he would allow himself to spiral down to a point that he relapsed and began using again. Thankfully, he addressed his behavior after his most recent show, saying, "There have been a lot of people asking me if I'm okay. Asking me if I'm on, heavy drugs or something like that. I'm not on drugs and I feel the best I've ever effing felt." After hearing this, we can say that we are happy that he's not struggling with drugs because we love him as an artist and as an individual. And if he ever happens to be struggling, we hope he knows that he's got a lot of fans supporting him. According to Post Malone, he's doing just fine, and since he's been struggling in the past, he's grateful for all the worried fans asking him if he's okay. With that said, if you are struggling, it is never too late to ask for help. There are dozens of free resources online and over the phone where you can speak with someone about your struggles, fears, or anxiety. Never let mental illness or drug abuse get the best of you. You are worth more than you know, and your life should never be taken for granted. Reach out if you are in a difficult place in your life. More people care about you than you know, and it is never too late to put your life back together. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to Flex Offenders to keep coming back for more new updates.